Welcome to the Echo Tips podcast. I'm David Ward. Our topic for today is going to be dealing with podcast categories. How to listen to podcast even if you don't know the name of the podcast you particularly want. Or maybe you want to discover something new in a particular category. So now you have access to that on your Amazon Echo. So before we get into that into depth, or get into the nitty-gritty, if you will, we're going to go to a brief message about our podcast, and then I'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by the New Vision program at Goodwill. We're also grateful for the kind use of WVTF Studios. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments living in Southwest Virginia. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving the New River, Roanoke, and Shenandoah Valleys of Virginia. Goodwill's mission services help individuals with disabilities and disadvantages to get back to work and gain greater independence. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Hello, welcome back. I'm David Ward, an assistive technology instructor with the New Vision program at Goodwill, and it's a pleasure to have you with us here today. If you're new, we welcome you, and if you're listening again, we thank you too for doing that as well. This is a very interesting episode where we're going to talk about podcast categories. So in episodes past, especially season 1, we talked about different podcasts, way of playing podcasts. We even talked about podcasts in particular that you might find very interesting if you're interested in the Amazon Echo and what we're talking about, such as the Dot to Dot podcast out of the United Kingdom, across the pond, or perhaps you're interested in, there's one out of Canada. So we've talked about podcasts before, but that's if you knew the name of the podcast, or I've tried to introduce people to different podcasts that might fit their interests. But what if you just don't know? Well, the Echo now has access to kind of a database of sorts of common podcasts in different genres, different categories. So today we're going to talk about how you might use that to your advantage, maybe to learn about a new podcast or one that you were totally unfamiliar with. So before I do some demonstrating here, it would be good for you to probably shut the microphone off on your Amazon Echo so that when I'm doing the demonstration here in the studio, it isn't triggering your Amazon Echo at home. So if you have a traditional Echo, like a Pringle can or a hockey puck round one, on the top you'll find a button with a silhouetted microphone with a slash through it. You'll want to press that and it will turn the ring red on top and it'll make a thump sound. And that means her ears are shut off and she won't respond to her name anymore. Not until you at least turn it back on. And if you have one with a screen on it and the screen is facing you, it will be the button on the top left, and it will make a similar thump sound and put a red bar across the bottom of the screen. So I'll just give you all a second to do that so that when I give you the demonstrations, we're not tripping your Echo up. So I'll just give you a second. Okay. All righty. So now we're ready to go. So let's do some samples. I got at least two different categories, maybe 3 different categories here: news, technology, and medicine. So let's just see what she plays. Alexa, play a news podcast.
Choosing a news podcast for you. Here's On the Media from TuneIn. Sticks and Stones.
From WNYC in New York, this is On the Media.
Alexa,
on this week's show,
stop.
Paradoxical.
So there you go. There's one it chose. Alexa, play a technology podcast.
Choosing a technology podcast for you. Here's This Week in Tech from TuneIn. Twit 740. Sex-positive currency.
It's time for Twit This Week in Tech with an international panel for you. Nate Langston, he writes for
Alexa,
Bloomberg from the UK.
Stop.
French podcaster Patrick Bay.
Okay. Always with those zany titles. All right, and now let's try this. Alexa, play a medical podcast.
Choosing a medical podcast for you. Here's This Won't Hurt a Bit from TuneIn. Some podcasts may contain mature content. 12. Farts and hiccups.
Are we going to get this thing started?
Alexa.
We're going to do this? Yeah.
Stop.
You know why we're going to do it?
Okay. So I think it gives you a little idea, and you can play around with that, think up different topics or things like that. I think I've even tried this. Alexa, play a top-rated podcast.
Choosing a top podcast for you. Here's Every Little Thing.
Be
from
funny if
TuneIn.
it played one of ours.
Grand Theft Water Lily.
This episode of Every Little Thing is brought to you by The World to
Alexa.
Come, a new podcast.
Stop.
Hosted by
All right, so that gives everybody a little clue as to some of the things you can play. All right, well, in our next episode, we're going to be dealing with reviving your timers, bringing those back to life, revisiting timers and things like that connected with timers. We've discussed timers in the past, but we're going to revisit this subject now just a little bit about some of the things you can do. I did cover in a recent episode timers, alarms, and reminders and some tweaks, and this is kind of just an extension of that, but I think you might find it really useful. But until that time, it's time to turn your microphone back on, start practicing some of the many things that you've learned. I'm David Ward for the New Vision program at Goodwill, and we thank you for listening.
Thanks, Dave. In conclusion, let me tell you a thing or two. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and it is also made possible in part by a grant from Community Foundation serving Western Virginia. And there's more. We're also grateful for the kind use of WVTF Studios. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments living in Southwest Virginia. For more information, check out our website at goodwillvalleys.com/newvision, with no spaces. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving the New River, Roanoke, and Shenandoah Valleys of Virginia. Goodwill's mission programs help individuals with disabilities and disadvantages to get back to work and gain greater independence. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Thanks for listening.